Welcome to the Scrum Masters Elite_UK channel. Subscribe now to follow in-depth analyses of the future of New Zealand rugby and the journey to find the All Blacks head coach.
In the context of the New Zealand Rugby Union preparing to announce the successor to Scott Robertson for the All Blacks head coach position, I truly feel that this is not just a simple personnel decision, but a milestone that could shape the future of an entire rugby nation. For me personally, the All Blacks are more than just a national team. They are a symbol of New Zealand's culture, identity, and the global standard that the world of rugby aspires to. Therefore, any change in the captaincy comes with enormous expectations, immense pressure, and the hopes of millions of fans. The appointment panel, which includes notable figures like David Kirk, Kevin Melamu, Dane Coles, Steve Lancaster, and Don Tricker, tasked with selecting the preferred candidate, reflects the seriousness and significance of this decision. When I look at the composition of the panel, I see a blend of top-level playing experience, sports management, and strategic thinking. I believe that with individuals who have been in the All Blacks changing room involved in the selection process, they won't just be looking for a great tactician but also for someone who understands the soul of the black jersey.
The two most prominent names right now are Joseph and Dave Rennie. I can clearly sense the differences between the two, but also an interesting commonality. Joseph, who is currently the head coach of the Highlanders, previously spent a long time leading the Japan national team and made a clear impact. Rennie, who currently heads the Kobelco Kobe Steelers, has also been in charge of the Wallabies and has extensive international experience. I'm particularly impressed with Joseph's journey in Japan. Leading a rugby nation that isn't considered a traditional powerhouse but still creating its own distinct identity is a testament to his ability to build culture and collective spirit. I believe success lies not only in victories but in creating trust and a sustainable system. In an environment like the All Blacks, where tradition runs deep, the ability to understand people and uphold core values is perhaps as important as tactics. Meanwhile, Rennie brings to the table the image of a strategist who has faced the intense pressures of international rugby while leading the Wallabies. I believe his experience managing a major team through a turbulent period helped sharpen his resilience.
I'm confident that this experience could become a valuable asset if he were given the opportunity to lead the All Blacks, especially in the lead-up to the upcoming World Cup. New Zealand Rugby's criteria for the head coach to be a New Zealander with international coaching experience suggests they are seeking a balance between identity and capability. I think this is a sensible approach. The All Blacks need someone who deeply understands New Zealand rugby culture, but also someone with the stature to engage with the global rugby world. In this era of globalized rugby, a coach must have international vision, not just domestic knowledge. From Sean Fitzpatrick's comments, I particularly paid attention to his view that there should only be one person ultimately responsible for the team. I fully agree. In any organization, especially at the highest level of sport, clarity around authority and responsibility is essential. A head coach doesn't just create tactics, they define the culture, behavior standards, and spirit of the entire team.
I was also drawn to his statement that the important factor is not just who is at the top, but who they surround themselves with. When Fitzpatrick mentioned Graham Henry, Ian Foster, Steve Hansen, and their collaborators like Wayne Smith, I understand that the success of the All Blacks has always been the result of a cohesive coaching collective. I've come to realize that a great leader is not someone who knows everything, but someone who knows how to select the right people. What strikes me most is that both Joseph and Rennie do not want to be assistants. They only want to take on the head coach role. I see this as a reflection of professional pride and leadership ambition. But at the same time, it also shows the fierce competition at the very top. In sport, opportunities don't come around often. When they appear, one must seize them with everything they've got. I take a personal lesson from this. I realize that in life, we sometimes face our own New Zealand rugby moments, decisions that can shape the path ahead.
In those moments, what's important is to understand the core values of ourselves, just as the All Blacks preserve their identity. I've learned that expertise must be accompanied by character. Fitzpatrick emphasized that both candidates are good people, and for me, that is the most solid foundation. I think the biggest lesson is patience and faith. Whoever is chosen will need time to build their philosophy and system. I believe that fans should support this process with a constructive spirit, rather than focusing solely on short-term results. A World Cup is not just decided by individual talent, but by long-term preparation, discipline, and culture. I also feel the pressure that New Zealand rugby is facing. This is not just a decision for one season but for the entire development cycle. I see a parallel here with any organization having to choose a successor, balancing safety and innovation, experience and vision. No choice is ever perfectly flawless. What matters is transparency and consistency in the criteria. I feel I've learned how to view success in a more comprehensive way. Success isn't just about titles but about maintaining standards, behaviors, and values. The All Blacks exist as a benchmark because they don't just win, they win in their own way. I think that's what makes them an icon. Whether the name announced is Jamie Joseph or Dave Rennie, I believe the real challenge only begins from there. The All Blacks head coach is not just a job, it's a mission. I hope the chosen one will have the courage to preserve the legacy but also the bravery to innovate. And as someone following this story, I choose to view it with respect, objectivity, and a belief that the core values, people, culture, and spirit are the deciding factors in everything.
Goodbye and thank you for being with Scrum Masters Elite _UK. Wishing everyone success on the next journey.